I'm Jason Tamerick. One of the key responsibilities of the director is to block the actors and the camera. Well, blocking is the technical term to determine where, how, and why the characters move around the set during the course of the scene. Well, blocking is also about the camera. Where do you put it? How does it move? And how do you frame each shot to best tell the story? Well, in this lesson, we're going to look at blocking techniques and how you can use them to produce a realistic performance that serves both the story and the technical needs of your production. Well, in a perfect world, we would have unlimited time and money. And as directors, we would be able to encourage the actor to move around the set however and wherever they wanted, drawing their motivation to move from the story. Well, the reality, though, is that the cast and the crew needs to know how and where the actors and the camera are going to be so they can dress the right part of the set. They know what part of the set to light, and they know how to prep the scene within the shooting schedule.
Filming is seen through a singular point of view, and that's of the lens. Yes, I know there's multiple cameras, but each one is a singular point of view. So staging has to do with seeing things from one specific spot. Extremely limiting. Not as limiting as painting, not as limiting as graphic novels. Nothing moves in those frames. So we actually have more freedom with a singular point of view than painters and illustrators. Part of directing and blocking is the art of organizing elements within a frame. And if it's done right, it feels absolutely essential to the story you're telling at the time. The dynamics of the movement within the scene, how people move, the speed at which they move, the geometric trajectories that they move. If it's done right, it feels just right.
When you block the scene, everyone involved in shooting the movie knows what this scene is about and where it's going, especially the actors. Because if you start a scene without having blocked the entire scene, then the actors find themselves working their way into the scene and saying, so where are we now? What am I doing next? And you don't get actors involved in the subtle business of a scene if they haven't blocked it. They don't become comfortable enough with the scene to actually do things like sit down and read a newspaper as they deliver their dialogue, or drink a cup of coffee, or get involved in human business. And it's pretty vital to the scene that they feel natural as they're acting. And part of feeling natural is that they get involved in business. They do something with their hands. They get involved in life while they're acting. If you've got two actors standing there with their hands in their pockets because they don't know where they're going next, it can be very, very stilted and hard to watch.
As a director, it's your job to break down the script so you understand how each scene works to support the story. Well, in much the same way an actor breaks down his or her character, you need to know what each character wants in each scene, what the character is really saying beneath the dialogue, and where the character is coming from in the moments before each scene takes place. Well, I go through these in much more detail in the lesson, Rehearsing the Actors. Well, these three factors play an important role in helping you craft real, organic blocking on set. Well, when you sit down with a script to decide the blocking, ask yourself these four questions. Why is the character moving? Where is the character moving? When does the character move? And how does the character move? All right, let's take a look at each one of these in more detail. The most important question to ask is why a character should move during the course of a scene. Well, this sounds really simple, but the reasons why run deeply into what the character is thinking in that moment. On a very simple level, a character can simply walk to the refrigerator to get the milk because the scene involves her making a milkshake. But in a more complex scene, in which, let's say, a wife has just learned that her husband cheated on her, the husband wants to move closer to her as he tries to apologize. But the wife is already positioned on the opposite side of the room, and she counters his move, always making sure that something, maybe it's a couch or a table, just something is in the way, prohibiting them from getting close to each other. See, by using the blocking to physically separate the couple, you're tapping into the psychological distancing underscored in the context of the scene.
Nothing is more important than the story. The story is that's the reason that everybody's there. It's not the person, it's not the director, it's not the actor, it's the story. It's that thing that we all serve, and we're all tools to tell that story. So, where are we in this moment within the arc of the story? And there are so many different things to think about. Where's the character? Where's the character's journey at this particular point of the story? Up, down, happy, sad, depressed, motivated, determined, whatever. And that you have to understand as the director or the storyteller so that you can convey it to the actor. Here's where we are in the story. Here's where you are in your journey.
And when we did The Fugitive, I tell you, we were working on the script day and night. I mean, a lot of it was improvised, but I would go to the set in the morning and I knew what the one-liner was that I wanted to get done. You know, Kimball finds his blank. That's all that mattered. The whole day's work was about Kimball finding this. There are a lot of ways to get there. And working with the actors and with the sets and the texture of things, and we would improvise and then we'd write it down and say, this is what we're shooting. So a lot of times we would go to the set, improvise the scene based upon what dialogue or script we had, change it, adjust it, figure out the logistics and how we're going to cover it, and then lock that down, and that's what we shot.
Once you decide what the actor wants from the scene, like if they want to ask a girl out on a date, and the girl doesn't want to go out on a date, say that's the scene, then the guy is the aggressor, and the girl is trying to get rid of him. So that's his action is to seduce her, and hers is to get rid of this guy. So depending on where you shoot it, like say if you're in a house, he would come in and he'd try to move toward her, and she'd try to move away from him. If they're outside, it would be the same thing. You take what the actors are thinking and what their motivations are and try to adapt it to the movements that they do.
When working on a TV show, you have to maintain the artistic integrity in terms of how much time I have to shoot this and what the characters need in the scene. But you know, I think that's something that's solved in prep as opposed to what should be done on the set.
All those smaller behaviors is a collaboration between the actor and the director about how their behavior, how their character's behavior is going to pop out in a way that pursues their own need, but that also fits in with how the director is telling the story.
Because I come from an acting background, I have a very good instinct about when someone would move, when they wouldn't, because people don't move without reason. And if I can talk in terms of an actor's needs, in terms of why they would move someplace or not move someplace, it makes it pretty simple to block something efficiently and having the money shots, you know, where they should be.
Well, if a boy is after a girl and they're both in love, but they don't want to say it, and they're talking about the weather, they're talking about, you know, other things, but their body language can show exactly how they're really feeling, and they're talking about something totally unrelated, and you block it for their bodies are saying, let's get together, and their voices are saying, you know, it's going to rain, and looks like the storm's coming, and other unrelated stuff. So there's the dialogue on one level, the subtext on another, and the blocking is following the subtext.
Blocking a scene in a way that is not motivated by the story can make an actor look really foolish, and this can undermine the trust between you, the director, and the actor. So you always want to ask yourself, why is a character moving, and how is this unveiling the true intentions in the scene? All right, everyone, that's all we have time for today. If you want to see the rest of this video tutorial, if you want to read the exclusive companion guide and download projects that you can use to practice these techniques at home, be sure to check out the full course at filmskills.com. Now, if you really want to improve the quality of your productions, I'll take you much deeper into the entire filmmaking process in the paid course at FilmSkills Unlimited, where I partnered with Arri, Audio-Technica, Panavision, Matthew Studio Equipment, Ledgo, and KinoFlow to produce an online training curriculum so complete that over 115 film schools, universities, and film commissions use my program. Plus, I sat down with over 70 Academy Award and Emmy-winning filmmakers who reveal the techniques they use to produce the biggest TV shows and movies ever made. So join over 20,000 filmmakers and learn how to write better screenplays, become a more effective director on set, master advanced cinematography techniques, unlock the full capabilities of your camera and lens, improve your shots with Hollywood lighting techniques, learn how to record audio, design sets, edit, and much more. And as a special bonus, I've also negotiated special discounts on software and gear just for FilmSkills members. And as a member, you also have exclusive access to hundreds of projects and exercises to practice and hone your skills. Plus, nearly 2,000 pages of my illustrated companion guides, personal mentoring, job shadows, and much more. So check out filmskills.com for more information. And by the way, you're also invited to join my free 1-hour filmmaking course, where I share my top 10 secrets to achieving a professional look that helped me grow a career shooting in over 35 countries for top studios and brands. So check out the link below to register for my free 1-hour filmmaking course and learn how to become a better filmmaker at FilmSkills, the online film school built by filmmakers for filmmakers.